What's going on, y'all? It's JD Piquel. Today on the channel, we got Grayson Grundhoefer bringing the heat. You are not going to want to miss a second of his silky smooth voice. Hope y'all enjoy.
Welcome in to CFP with JD. I'm your host, Grayson Grundhoefer. I am not JD, but I'm going to be bringing you all kinds of college football content throughout the week, and especially today, because today we are talking about sleeper, breakout, bust in the Big 12 at specifically the quarterback position. So, this is a new year, right, in the Big 12. A lot of new quarterbacks coming in, new faces to get to know, and also quarterback battles aplenty. This is a conference that is really at a shifting point right now at the quarterback position, which does not happen all that often, especially with the top schools in the conference. So, my breakout this year at the quarterback position. Now, this is going to be a really controversial one. And to me, the reason why I'm all for the guy that I'm going to say is because, in general, the weapons around him and the head coach, I think, are going to make things work finally. And that's Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers. And I think that, I might end up dying on a hill with this take for sure. I completely understand that. He could come in and not work out, or things could go completely wrong for Texas, especially on the offensive line. But if you look at the weapons that they have built around the former number one overall player in his class, you got to be kind of happy if you're a Texas fan. Isaiah Nayor, Xavier Worthy, these are two high-end wide receivers who are going to have a huge impact on the next season. And I also think because of those two guys, people completely forget about Jordan Whittington. And that was a guy who last year, along with the Casey Thompson injury, his injury was almost just as massive. He was a safety blanket for the quarterbacks last year, and when he was out, things just kind of came unglued for that team. And so getting him back as a safety blanket for Ewers will be really helpful. The run game with Bijan Robinson, we already know how great that's going to be, which will already take a lot of pressure off of Quinn Ewers. So now it all, in my mind, comes down to the offensive line. Can they block well enough? Can they keep their young quarterback off the turf? If they can do that, I think they're going to be really happy with the results, because even last year with Casey Thompson, who, listen, very good quarterback, nowhere near as talented as Quinn Ewers. But when they kept him healthy, when they kept guys off of him and they were able to create a clean pocket, he was actually pretty successful. And so I think this year with Quinn Ewers, if you give him time and allow him to take shots downfield, and if he lives up to the billing, this is absolutely a guy who could be a complete breakout in this conference next season. Moving on to my sleeper pick, how about West Virginia's JT Daniels? Another one who is kind of a complete unknown at this point, and it's really not all his fault. At USC, he had a lot of momentum. Injuries kind of held him back a little bit. He ends up transferring to Georgia, plays well in stretches, but again ends up getting injured a little bit, loses his job to Stetson Bennett. Obviously, Georgia goes on to win a national championship, and he's kind of left there with, what's he going to do? And this was a former five-star quarterback, a guy who has a ton of talent, but for some reason in his career, everything has not come together. And a part of it is injury, a part of it is situation, a part of it is just, him not putting it all together at the right times. If you kind of look at him in general, I think you got to look at him as a sleeper because of just the fact that he's got this tremendous upside. In 2021, 722 yards, 7 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. And then in 2020, 1,231 yards, 10 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions in 4 games. The guy has been productive when he's had opportunities and when he has been healthy. I also think my hedge on this is that I don't think West Virginia's defense is going to be nearly as good as it was a year ago or the year before that. I think they're going to be more reliant on their offense. And honestly, I think that's a good thing. I think they need to get back to that. Neil Brown came in as a very good offensive mind, and it really hasn't worked out. And a big part of that was the fact that they had Jared Dagey at quarterback instead of a guy like JT Daniels. So he's my sleeper pick for next season in the Big 12. Now moving on to my bust. And I think bust has a variety of terms that can be used for it. I think it can be used for a guy who is of high stature, who I don't think will live up to expectations, or it could just be a general situation that I don't think will work out for next season. And to me, it's the second one. And the reason I say that is because TCU, I don't think, has found their quarterback. And I know that's kind of crazy to say because you've seen flashes of Max Duggan and Chandler Morris have a lot of success. But the issue is when you have two, you have none. And to me, I think this is conflicting styles, and I think it's going to be a problem. So Sonny Dykes comes in there. He's got his offensive system, and to me, that system really leans towards Chandler Morris. I do, and I think it's because Morris has an ability to make a more variety of throws. He can throw on the run. He can make plays happen with his feet. He's got a strong enough arm to impact the field deep downfield, and he's accurate enough to make quick reads in the screen game. I think all of those reasons are why Chandler Morris should be the guy, but the problem is that Max Duggan is still there. And Max Duggan is still a guy who had so much promise when he first got to TCU. The problem is I don't think I've ever seen a game where Max Duggan wasn't hurt or banged up. Every time I see that guy play, it seems like he has a hobble or he gets injured during the game or he's just not able to make throws. And you listen to the press conferences the next week and it's like Max Duggan wasn't 100%. So it's kind of like, who is Max Duggan? The only things I know watching Max Duggan are he's got a strong arm, he's very powerful in the run game, he's a sneaky athletic player as well, but he's inaccurate. Those are the things that I take away when I watch Max Duggan play, and because of that, I don't think he fits the scheme well, but the issue is I still think he'll get an opportunity at the job, and I think Chandler Morris's size could be a reason for that. So that makes that whole quarterback room a bust for me, and it really, I think, kind of accentuates the fact that I think TCU might be in for a long season next year. So that's it. Those are my sleeper. That's my sleeper, breakout, and bust for the 2022 season in the Big 12. This has been CFB with JD. I'm Grayson Grundhoefer. Talk to you later.